All right, Shalom. I'm just going to continue on. This is going to be part two, going into the collapse of the financial institutions and that Babylon can't be healed. We talked about in part one how Babylon could not be healed. And part two is getting into the destruction and redemption. What comes from Babylon not being able to be healed is that it's going to be destroyed with the plagues that's sent from Yahweh Shem Shai, and then the redemption of the children of Israel, speaking more specifically to the elect, is what's going to ensue. So now let me just continue on from there and go into Second Esdras. That was the next place I was going to go before I had those technical difficulties. So Salakia. So now we'll pick back up with Second Esdras, the 15th chapter. Second Esdras 15, and we'll start at verse 6. And it reads, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith Ha'adawan, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness," speaking of Esau, Edom. So all the wickedness that the man of sin has done, the Edomites on the earth, he's going to be recompensed. We're in the time of his recompense. The Most High is going to reward and recompense wickedness for wickedness, evil for evil. It says, which they profanely commit, they do what? Straight out. No one is giving them any judgment. We went on, wanton on the earth, the scriptures say, doing whatever they want. They've profanely committed this. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me. And the innocent and righteous blood, speaking of the children of Israel, those that's in the spirit realm that's crying out to Yahweh Shem Shai, and those here on the earth. It says, and the souls of the just complain continually. And we remain what? Complaining, crying out, giving supplication to Yahweh Shem Shai that he would avenge us for all that this devil's done, upon knowing and understanding, these scriptures and the prophecies. Verse 9, and therefore it says, saith Ha'adawan, I will surely avenge them, which lines up with the 18th chapter of Luke. The Lord said he will avenge the elect speedily. I don't want to write the Zah, we have that number. And receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. The innocent blood is all the children of Israel that was slaughtered here in Babylon and on the four corners of the earth. But definitely here in the Americas, North, South, and Central America. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. So the Most High, through Esdras, is making it be known that a great number of Israelites is going to be what? Destroyed. They're going to be led. Isaiah, the 66th chapter, goes into that as well. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, which is the rebellious house, the 2/3. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, because he's going to send salvation to the elect. Verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand, and that mighty hand and a stretched out arm is speaking of Yahushua, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, because when you read in Psalm 110, the right hand of Ha'adawan is Yahushua, and will destroy all the land thereof from sea to shining sea, from the west coast to the east coast, from the Pacific to the Atlantic is going to be completely destroyed. Babylon, right? This is going to be where the lake of fire is going to be. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn. So we're seeing the beginnings with these bank runs and the financial instability and the fall of Babylon. Babylon can't be healed, right? We're seeing that Egypt is in the state of mourning now. It's caused a lot of problems with a lot of jobs, laying off a lot of people. There's a lot of different things going on, and more specifically with the financial systems, right? Because the scriptures do tell us, and I made reference to it in the first video, and this is part 2, that, that there's going to be a second great crashing from the hills, right? Those that would be the keepers of the house they're going to be afraid. They're going to fear. Continuing on, verse 12, 2 Esdras 15 and 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten. And that's the financial instability. The foundation of it is what? It's crumbling, it's falling. With the plagues and punishment that the power shall bring upon it. So the Most High is bringing all these things upon Babylon, as he promised. Because it was a promise that he made when you read in Luke 1 and verse 68. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and get it. And also when you read, I believe it's in Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter. Let me see if I can get that. This is Luke, the 1st chapter. So this is all going back to the oath, the promises of Yahweh Shem Shai. So the Most High is a man of his word. He's going to keep his word perfectly. That's why the scriptures, speak of Yahweh Shai and the Most High as being faithful and true. This is the book of Luke 1 and verse 68. And it reads, "Blessed be the Lord, or Adawan, power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people." So the redemption, which is what we're about to get into, is coming to Israel. It's not to all people, all nations, whosoever that call on the name of JC or any of that. It's only to the nation of Israel, the elect. Luke 1 and 68, "Blessed be the Lord, or Adawan, power of Israel, Yasha'Allah, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David." DRAWETH. So this is starting with the house of David. The 144,000 down to the 1/3 is who this is making reference to and mention of. Luke 1 and 70, "As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies." So salvation is coming to the nation of Israel from their enemies, which the chief of our enemies are the Edomites, the so-called white people on earth today, right, which are the biblical Edomites, "and from the hand of all that hate us and the other nations, the Elamites, the East Indians, the Moabites, the Chinese, the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, the Hamites, the Africans, so on and so forth." Luke 1 and 72, "To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant." So all this is being done as a remembrance of the covenant. And that covenant was the mercy that he promised to the elect. "The oath which he sware to our father Abraham." Verse 74, "That he will grant unto us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear," which is give us the kingdom of heaven, rulership on the earth, those new bodies, dominion over the nations, being and having a power over all the resources of the earth, ruling with the rod of iron. Now let's show that oath, what's important about that oath, which leads to the redemption. This is the book of Habakkuk 3 and 9. It says, "Thou bow was made quite naked, according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Selah," which means to meditate. "Thou didst cleave the earth with rivers. The mountains saw thee, and they trembled." Speaking of the nations, the overflowing of the water, which is going to be Salakia, a cause and effect of the missiles is going to hit, throughout the earth. It's going to cause great flooding. It says, "The deep uttered his voice and lifted up his hand on high. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation at the light of thine arrows," the missiles, "they went forth, and at the shining of thy glittering spear," which is another name for the ICBM, the nuclear missile, which is also flying arrows, flying spear, glittering spear, spoilers. These are all names for the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Verse 12, "Thou didst march through the land in indignation. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people." Why doesn't it say the whole world? "Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people," which are speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, "even for the salvation with thine anointed." The anointed is who Yahweh Shai is coming to save. "Thou woundest the head of the house of the wicked," which is the Edomites. That's the head of the house of the wicked, "by discovering the foundation unto the neck." So that's the proof there. That's the proof right there. The proof right there is making reference to Israel. Now, this is the redemption that's coming. So let's touch on the redemption and close this video out. It's not going to be too much longer. This is the book of Psalm 111 and 9. Psalm 111 and 9, it says, "He sent redemption unto his people," which is what we just read, going back into Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, and Luke, the 1st chapter. "He sent redemption unto his people," and that's going to be by way of Yahweh Shai. "He hath commanded his covenant forever." See that covenant that was made? That was a commandment forever. "Holy," it says, "and reverend is his name." The name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is holy, right? And reverend. There's great reverence, great respect to the name, the true and proper name of the God of heaven and earth. Now, when you go into redemption here in Psalm 111 and 9, in the blue letter, this word redemption goes into ransom, to redeem, to liberate, liberation. Now, when you go into the common definition, it tells you that redemption is the action of saving or being saved. And it goes on further to say, to vindicate, to recover, reclamation, to reclaim, to repossess, to take something back, to return, to rescue. It says, and then it goes into making good. So to be made good, to be made righteous and holy before the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, through Yahweh Shai is how salvation has to come. That's when we put on perfection, immortality, right? So these synonyms, once again, the action of saving or being saved. So the redemption goes into salvation, vindication, to be vindicated, to recover, reclamation, to be reclaimed, repossession, return, to rescue. So we're going to be rescued by Yahweh Shai. That's who the rescuer is. Now let's get this other precept here I got in mind. Luke 21 and verse 28. It says, and when these things begin to come to pass, the words of Yahweh Shai, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Let's read that again. Luke 21 and 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, and what things is it speaking about? Luke 21, 28 goes in line with this. 2nd Ezra's, the 9th chapter. Let me go there real quick. 2nd Ezra's, the 9th chapter touches on this. So when these things begin to come to pass, it says, lift up your heads, for your redemption, which is salvation, right? Draweth nigh. 2nd Ezra's 9 and 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So Yahweh Shai is coming back to redeem the elect. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, and we're seeing the uproars of the people, you know, you have in the European Union, you have France and different nations where there's big uproars. In the nation of Israel, there's big uproars, people marching in the streets, and in France, people in the streets coming against the governments of the earth. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, and there's been earthquakes all over the earth, Syria and Turkey and all throughout the earth, different parts of Asia, etc. And therefore, and even in America, Babylon the Great. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the beginning, or spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So we clearly see we're in the last days. So let's go back to Luke 21 and 28. And it reads the words of Yahweh Shai, and when these things begin to come to pass, which are the prophecies. So the falling, Babylon, fallen is part of great prophecy, the last of the end time prophecies. So these are those things. The plagues is being sent, the nations uprising. All of these are those things, those signs, those visions, which are prophecies. Luke 21 and 28 again, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Once again, our salvation is drawing near, very, very, very near. Now let's show that and close it out. This is the book of Revelation 15 and verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. These are the 7 holy angels, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. Verse 2, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. This is on the chariots. That transparent glass that, that the believers, I don't worry about the Zah, we have the number, are going to be able to look down from the heavens unto the earth and see the destruction of Babylon. That's the fire, So it says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast. And what's the victory? Salvation. That's the victory, right? Victory over what? The Edomite power structure on the earth, the beast system and his image, right? And his mark, which is going to be made mandatory to take. So this is what this is making reference to. The elect are going to get, that was promised salvation via the chariots, are going to receive this. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, meaning they obtained salvation, and over his image and over his mark. So his image is his system, and his mark, the charagma, and over the number of his name, those that are one with his system, those that are going to be branded and that are going to take on, the MOTB, pertaining to Revelation, the 14th chapter, the 9th through the 11th verse. Continuing on, and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass the chariots, having the harps of the Most High, and they sing the song of Moses, Mashah. It says, the servant of the power, and the song of the Lamb, who's what? Yahweh Shai. That's this truth. Saying, great and marvelous are thy works. Adawan, power almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. So Yahweh Shai is the Lord and Lord and King of kings. It's coming to redeem the children of Israel. So I don't worry about the Zionist lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. All praises, honor, and glory be to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, call hello Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, Barak Yamla, Allah Yanawa Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, Thamyah. All praises, honor, and glory be to our power. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect, Thamyah. All the brothers, Akim and Akwath, and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel that's being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. Unto you, I say shalom. Shalom to the hopeful elect.